As a consumer, years ago, I played computer games like most of the people who went to college in the 70s on the mainframes after hours when I was supposed to be compiling runtime code. As a participant in creating them, about almost 2 years ago, when I got a phone call from my agent saying some folks in Eugene, Oregon had contacted him and wanted to talk to me about the possibility of doing something based upon my work. And that was the seed from which Betrayal at Krondor sprung. Well, the world of Midkemia began as a role-playing environment for a bunch of college students back in the 70s. Like kids everywhere, my friends in college and I were broke. Fantasy role-playing was a very inexpensive hobby relative to a lot of other things we could be doing. You basically needed some pencils, some paper, and some funny-looking dice, and a lot of imagination. And the history of the world began to unfold. Well, that started 19 years ago. So there's almost 2 decades worth of thought and creation in Midkemia. It's possibly one of the most involved and detailed world environments for creating games around today. Obviously, the world in which the game is played is the fruit of years of my work, but the game itself is a wonderful collaborative endeavor that I think adds tremendously to the world of Midkemia. When I do a book, I've got a totally limitless casting, special effects, costuming budget. You know, I can blow up a city, which I did in Darkness of Sethanon. I can make a character look and sound exactly like James Mason, and he's been dead for some number of years. I can have Sir Laurence Olivier delivering the King's Speech in the chapter, you know, at the end of Darkness of Sethanon, because it's all in my head. The characters in the game Betrayal at Krondor may not look exactly like I envision them, but that's fair, because what the reader of the book sees in their head doesn't match exactly what I envision. And their vision of that character from what I've described is just as valid as mine. Well, when I first played Betrayal at Krondor, it was a very odd, pleasant but odd experience to be encountering things in my world that I hadn't authored. It was surprising, and it was unexpected, and it was fun. It's interesting to see someone else who has some talent take your work and go do something original with it and bring it back to you, and to be presented with surprises. And I think that's the best part about it for me, is I was surprised by many things in Betrayal at Krondor. And of course, I'm never surprised in my own work, or rarely anyway. You know, I kind of know how the book's going to end when I start it. For the reader of my work, I think Betrayal at Krondor will be a welcome addition to the vast material they've already been exposed to. The fact that you're going back and visiting old friends is a lot of the appeal. It's new adventures with Jimmy the Hand and Prince Arutha, and some new characters, some people you've never met before. For somebody who's ignorant of my work, the game still stands on its own as a very enjoyable playing experience. What it is a novel, if you will, an interactive novel, that you are allowed to make decisions, where the author essentially turns to you on page 24 and says, fine, what do you want them to do next? And I think that's why it's a very different kind of role-playing game and a very different kind of experience for the readers. The action in Betrayal at Krondor occurs between the books Darkness at Sethanon and Prince of the Blood, about halfway between them, as a matter of fact. So for someone who's read the books, everything will flow very easily and be familiar. And for somebody who hasn't read the books, it's a nice computer game with some interesting environments and characters that maybe will interest them enough to go read the books. It's what's in any good adventure story. It's Robert Louis Stevenson's Kidnapped. It's Treasure Island. It's The Three Musketeers. It's daring do and adventure and mystery and magic and murder and mayhem and strange lands with foreign people and colorful characters. It's a Saturday matinee when you're 12 years old. It's a wonderful adventure. This is a kind of a fun game to put in the corner of your hard drive and call up every once in a while, just like it's taking a book out and reading it on a break and then putting it away for a while. The game is designed so that you have bookmarks. Literally, they call them bookmarks, where you can say, I'm saving the game right here at this point, at any point in the game. It's not one of those horrible, miserable games where you have to battle your way back to a particular location before you're allowed to save the game. So you can play it in little, teeny, manageable chunks, and it's a wonderful, rich experience.